Hello, YouTube family, and welcome to the Wall of Beige, where you can see why I want to paint the walls, because I blend. If it wasn't for my hair, I would be the best at playing hide and go seek. So, I'm going to show you right here. I had my Norplant out 2 days ago, which means tomorrow will be the official day one of trying to have a baby. So I know I'm going to have a rough fertility journey, because I've already had one. So a lot of people don't know this, but I have had a miscarriage. I didn't know I was pregnant at the time, so it was a little traumatic. And after that miscarriage, I went to the doctor and was told that it was extremely unlikely I was ever going to be able to get pregnant again. And if I did get pregnant, oh my gosh, I just woke up and I'm super puffy. Sorry. I was just, and haven't done my hair. Anyway, you guys get the real me. So I distracted myself from my own pain. I was told it's very likely that I will not be able to get pregnant, and that if I get pregnant, it will be extremely unlikely for me to be able to keep the pregnancy. I didn't have any health insurance, and when I was about, I think I was 23, 24, I got this new job and I was just feeling super shitty, but I was working crazy hours and I was like, oh, it's just, getting used to the new job and, all these new hours and yada, 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 on and on and on. And I was like, what, it felt like I had the flu, but I was like, well, I'm not sneezing, I'm not dripping anything anywhere, so I'm not contagious, I'm just going to keep going to work. And my coworkers found me face down in my office, and I couldn't figure out how to use the phone to dial for help. And when the doctors say if you have flu-like symptoms for more than a week, you need to go to the doctor. This is why. I had a quiet little bacterial infection that killed off 80% of my pancreas. And I was going into organ failure. And I was dying. And I had no health insurance. So we had saved up enough money for a down payment for a house, and we ended up spending that on keeping me alive. And one of the side effects of that is I'm in this weird place. I'm a type 1.5 diabetic, so I have some of the... I basically have all of the issues from both types. From both autoimmune type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. The combination would make it extremely difficult for me to be able to ever maintain a pregnancy. And since polycystic ovarian syndrome is basically a diabetes spectrum issue, I'm sure I'll talk about that more, it's a part of syndrome X. So it's just the basis of polycystic ovarian syndrome is dysfunction in how your body handles blood sugars and insulin. And since my body is like completely fucked when it comes to that, I don't have cysts in my ovaries, but I have every other symptom of polycystic ovarian syndrome. And without doing things, I don't ovulate on my own. Now, this was not really a big deal because my family wasn't in a place where we could even talk about having a kid. We had 2 stepkids in the family. They were both fairly high needs. And, we just couldn't get the income and stability and everything together to even talk about it. And my partners were adamantly anti-baby. And I realized I had to at least try. I'd always, from the time I was 12 or 13, I remember wanting to have kids. And yeah, I mean, we are probably going to have foster kids, but I was a foster sibling. I know what that's like. And it was really hard to have a sibling that you cared about go back to a situation that you knew was abusive, but they'd worked just hard enough to get the kids back and they were going to lose them again because you bounce in and out of the foster care system. Very, very few of the abusive parents actually get their shit together long term to get the kids back. And there are parents who do. There are parents who the issue wasn't abuse, it was like we had one foster sibling where the parents both lost their jobs at the same time and ended up homeless, and the kid went into foster care. They were able to get up jobs, and basically just had a financial shitstorm happen. They were never abusers. They always made their visitation. Like, it was obvious they loved their kid, and it was great when he got to go back home. That is not the case for most of my foster siblings. Most of them, you knew bad shit was going to happen to them when they went back. I don't know if I could handle that with a kid that I considered mine, that I loved. I don't know that I have the emotional fortitude to do that. So what we want to do is we want to foster older gay and transgendered kids because they have a hard time placing them in foster care. A lot of the parents in the foster care system are deeply religious. So there's always a need for people willing to foster gay teens. And we bought a 6-bedroom house. We have to finish a couple of the bedrooms. There's one in the attic that needs to be finished and yada yada. So that's our long-term plan. But I knew I would regret it for the rest of my life if I didn't at least try to have a baby. So and I got the Norplant because I was hoping for bigger boobs. My partner Ash got huge boobs from the Norplant. So I wasn't exactly, using it for birth control since, lesbian don't really have much need for protection against the sperm. But, I've started doing things to help, like, this whole process. And I've done a lot of research, and I've done research into hardcore keto and full-on carnivore. So there are several, and I'll actually dig out research. There are several IVF doctors who won't do cycles unless both partners are either full keto or have gone carnivore, which is 0 carbs, for 3 months before egg retrieval. And I was like, that's weird. Why would that matter? And it turns out that for humans, that dramatically increases egg quality. And the exact mechanism is unknown. You'll hear me say that a lot. Oh my. You'll hear me say that a lot because a lot of the research I'm doing shows just how little we know about human reproductive health and how there's so many more questions than answers. But I was taking, I've been taking folic acid for 2 months now, and then I realized folic acid is fucking useless. And I'm sure I'll go on a rant about that later, but no, so I went carnivore. I went keto, high fat. I basically eat a lot of bacon and a lot of ribeye. But the beautiful part about that is, even with the Norplant in, the implant in my arm, and I only had it for 1 year, so it's still in full force. I ovulated exactly when the Fertility Friend app said I was going to ovulate. Through the Norplant, which prevents ovulation. Even though I can't even remember the last time I ovulated. And I'm one of those lucky people that can tell when because it hurts. I get Mittelschwarz, the lovely German word for middle pain, which is when you can actually feel the egg releasing. It's this weird pinchy sensation. But yeah, I ovulated, and then I spotted during ovulation, and I was just like, holy shit, this is really working. And it turns out that 3 months is when a lot of women on the PCOS and keto boards will start randomly ovulating or get pregnant, which is really cool. So, so I'm eating ultra low carb, There are lots of days where I have 4 grams of carbs, and that's because my prenatal vitamin I'm taking is a gummy, and I'm trying to find a better prenatal vitamin. I'm actually trying to find a decent preconception supplement, and I don't like any of them on the market. I may actually have to formulate my own because a lot of them just grab other people's formulas and they're not looking at the research. But there's a lot of really good research on what prevents miscarriages. And I'm going to be honest, like, if I am going to have to deal with sperm and a sperm delivery system, which as a lesbian I am not looking forward to, I do not want to have like multiple miscarriages. Like, one was enough. Miscarriage is freaking horrible, and there is good science behind what supplements you can take to reduce the risk of multiple miscarriages. Um, so I honestly think that we should take blood tests of women who have miscarriages, and as a baseline, just do a full analysis of like what is missing, because it turns out that there's a lot of mineral deficiencies in first trimester miscarriages, and I'll do it now. If anybody watches this whole video, you're amazing, by the way. My vitamin B rant. So I found out after taking folic acid every day for a couple of months that folic acid is pretty much useless for what I'm going for. And here's what's up. So folic acid, you'll hear over and over and over again. You need folic acid. You need folic acid. You need folic acid. It prevents neural tube defects. It prevents all kinds of defects. And also, women who have low levels of folic acid, technically vitamin B9 in their system, have a much higher chance of having kids with autism and autism spectrum disorders. So, okay, this is obviously really important. We obviously all need vitamin B9, especially if you might be pregnant. So the governments in the 90s, and I vaguely remembered this, most of the governments in the world actually require that you have folic acid in grain. So breakfast cereals and breads have increased folic acid, and that reduces the number of miscarriages and reduces the number of neural tube defects. This is a good thing. Like, folic acid enrichment is a good thing. It's done all over the world. It has helped a lot of people. But here's the trick. There is a gene mutation where you cannot turn artificial folic acid, which is cheap as fuck to manufacture, into the bioavailable form, which is methylfolate. So if you don't have, if you have this gene mutation, you can have all the folic acid you want, and it shows up in your blood test that you have plenty of vitamin B9 because you have all this folic acid in your blood, but your body can't use it. So you aren't going to get any of the effects of preventing, autism, preventing neural tube disorders, preventing birth defects, and preventing multiple miscarriages. So, so the question then is, how many people have this gene where they can't use folic acid? Because this is obviously a big deal. And the answer is it's about half. And I checked, and my insurance won't even test if you have this gene until somewhere between your 6th and your 9th miscarriage. I have super shitty insurance. I'm trying to get a different plan. But, so I could literally, there's a 50% chance I could literally be taking 6 times the recommended dose of folic acid, and I will get zero benefit from it. And the form that you want is methylfolate, or sometimes it's 5-methylfolate. And it is not that much more expensive to make, but folic acid was first artificially produced in the lab in the 1920s, so it's really cheap and easy to make. Really cheap. And I went through, and I'll post it later, but I went through all of the prenatal vitamins and all the preconception vitamins at Pick and Save, and there was 12 of them. And I went through every single one at Menards, and there were 20 or 30 of them. I only took a video at the Pick and Save, but all of them had folic acid instead of methylfolate, except for one, Smarty Pants. So I have the Smarty Pants gummies. I'm trying to go zero carb, because any carbs will kick off sugar cravings for me. And literally only one had methylfolate. So 50% of women taking prenatal vitamins aren't getting the most important vitamin in the prenatal vitamins because their bodies can't accept it. So their bodies can't use it. So I'm pissed at the entire vitamin industry right now. I'm taking a lot of supplements to improve my egg quality. I'm 36. I've smoked. I'm diabetic. I have the deck stacked against me. I've had miscarriages. I have one that I know about. I've probably had more. For early trimester miscarriages. Um, I've always had super irregular periods. Um, it's not gonna be easy for me to get pregnant, and I am terrified of losing the pregnancy once I have it. I'm really scared. Um, yeah, I'm really scared, but I have to try. You know, if I don't think I'll be able to live with myself. This is important to me, and I've always wanted it. And there's always a reason not to try. And I'm done. So, 3 months from now, because your eggs. I used to think that egg quality just steadily declined as you got older, and it turns out that is not true. Your eggs basically take on the basically you have 3 months. There's a 3 month cycle as your eggs mature, and they sort of take on the characteristics of the fluid and the nutrition they get in those 3 months. So, um, even if you're in your 40s, you can do a lot to change the quality and health of your eggs, and that strongly reduces your risk of first trimester miscarriages. So, um, I am taking like crap loads of supplements. I'm gonna start taking crap loads more. Uh, and I'm just gonna. I've got 3 months. 3 months. I've been losing weight. I've been getting healthier. I quit smoking. I did not want to quit smoking. Um, do not want to quit smoking. I actually enjoy smoking. And you can't smoke if you're concerned about egg quality, because cigarettes and fertility are not friends. Uh, and this is just going to be a long, shitty journey. And I'm going to share it here so I don't drive my friends and family insane with my long, shitty journey to try to get pregnant. And, yeah, I'm freaking out about choosing a donor. I've got a couple of strong candidates, but, how shall I put this delicately? Penises are the best sperm delivery system out there. You can buy other things, but since the odds are already stacked against my favor, like the they're not turkey basters anymore. You actually get different things, but the turkey baster style systems are use a plastic syringe and sort of squirt it all up there. That has about a 60% chance of success. And a real live penis, there are things that you can do, are up to a 90% chance of success. And since women my age take an average of 6 cycles to get pregnant anyway, under the best of circumstances, and they're like super healthy and everything, I'm looking at having to fuck a dude multiple times. And I'm kind of not looking forward to that. And it's the most awkward thing trying to find a sperm donor. Like it's so cringy. It's so awful. I'll do another video on that later when I'm like dressed and like, this is my pajamas. This is my bed. I just rolled out of bed, peed, and made this video. It's 20 minutes of garbage. But it's very raw, and it's very true, and this is what the start of a fertility journey looks like. Tired and puffy, and craving shit that you shouldn't be eating, and sad and scared. Unless, like, you're a happy married lady who's gonna get to, like, make love to the person that she adores instead of, like, bone a random dude from the internet. I'm tired. I'm gonna go back to sleep. It's my day off. So yeah, gonna try for a baby, and I'm not looking forward to most of the process. This whole thing is just gonna be painful and suck, and it's gonna be a lot of work, and there's no guarantee of success at the end, and I'm already exhausted. Adios, chicas.